All right, my brother Pete and I are making meatballs while the kids have gone to bed, although I heard some noise up there, and I think your little Pearson wants to come in here.
I'm sure he does.
So we are cooking meatballs, and I am showing Pete a meatball recipe that is different than the one that we grew up on.
Whose meatball recipe is this one?
This is just made up because I was at a place in a local restaurant, and I just love these meatballs. Now, I don't know if Pete's younger than I am, so I don't know if you remember when we would go visit my grandmother, they were so serious about their meatballs.
Your grandmother? What about my grandmother?
I mean, our grandmother. And they would argue about the meatballs. Are you supposed to brown them first? Are you supposed to fry them first?
Well, I go back and forth every once in a while. I'll brown them or I'll drop them.
Yeah, and when you say,
what mood I'm in.
Exactly, and when you say drop them, you're dropping them into a hot sauce.
Right.
So this is the drop kind, Pete, and these are big ones, and these are light and fluffy. So Pete, if you could just put milk over here so that the milk is really saturated into the breadcrumbs.
How much milk are we using?
About a cup.
Okay.
I have 1/3 of a cup of fresh chopped parsley, and I am going to chop about a tablespoon of fresh oregano. So we've got the same kind of flavors going on in here that you would normally have, but I have a secret ingredient, Pete.
What's
so
that?
we tried and tried and tried to figure out why these meatballs were so amazing. And my friend who was helping me, Greg, he said, I think there's ricotta cheese in those meatballs.
Really?
Yeah, can you believe?
Cheese and meatballs?
Yes. Well, there's Parmesan
Well,
always.
we always have Parmesan in, but ricotta?
Exactly. So how's this? This is
Pretty good.
So press it in and get it all soaked, and then when you're done, squeeze it out like you're squeezing the laundry. You do laundry a lot, right?
Yeah, every day.
And then bring it onto the board and take my knife and just chop it, squeeze it, and then chop it into small pieces.
Okay.
So I cut and sautéed a small onion, and I'm putting this into our bowl. And the ricotta cheese is about 1 pound. We have 3 pounds of meat. And that's why I've got so much cheese. I mean, I know this is weird, but trust me, in the end,
weird.
It's great.
I'm trusting you now.
Oh, look at you. You're doing great. So Peter was just reminding me of so much fun that we had. We went to cooking school together in Italy.
That was the highlight, I'm telling you.
That was so fun. About 1/2 cup of grated parm. And what I remember the most is that we would be in class all morning, and we would cook. We would cook with the teacher, and at about 11 or 12 o'clock, we'd sit down, and we'd have lunch, and we'd have wine, and then everybody in the class would go, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I gotta go home. There's no way I can possibly eat another thing all day. And we'd be like, are you kidding me? We would then go out and do something and plan our next meal.
That's right.
In the evening, every evening. All right, so stick that right in here. That's perfect. All right. Then we have 1 pound of ground veal, 1 pound of ground beef, and 1 pound of ground pork. Now, you can pretty much use anything you want. If you want to use all beef, that's fine, but remember, we're trying to emulate the thing that we love so much, and we discovered that there were different meats in here. Basically, you need 3 pounds of ground meat. I'm sure there's somebody out there thinking, can we use turkey? Because everyone wants to use turkey nowadays.
You can, but there's not enough fat in it to give it enough flavor.
That's
right,
right, Pete.
I found.
You were paying attention there in cooking school. So do we have everything? Let's see. Salt and pepper. Okay, 2 teaspoons of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And if we're lucky, this is going to work. So what we're going to do is get these all mixed up and ready. You want to go in there, or should I?
I'll dive in.
All right, dive in here. I'll bring your sleeves up a little bit and get them all mixed up. So the thing I love to do when I'm making meatballs is get some ready to eat and then get some in the freezer. And the beauty about these meatballs, and this is another thing you can do, I'll hold this for you, is that you can take those meatballs from the freezer and drop them right in the simmering sauce, which is a great thing to have on hand if you want to have a quick meal. And, ooh, it smells good.
Yeah, it does smell pretty good.
It smells great. So what's the thing you remember most that we learned when we were cooking together in Italy?
I think my favorite meal that we cooked there, that I cook all the time now, is linguine vongole.
Oh, yeah.
Those little tiny clams that they had there were so good. They tasted so nutty and yummy. And
I cook that all the time, too. In fact, I think that is a contestant for my favorite of all time. I'm going to bring this over here. And your hands are already mooky, and I'm going to get mine mooky, too. Okay. And, I think you drove the family here. You spent the whole day. We had dinner. We have the kids getting to bed. And our one last little job here. Now, we're making these big. I'm talking like the size of a lime.
All right.
But not the shape of a lime.
No.
Okay. So our last little job was to get the meatballs made. Pete and I made the sauce last night, you guys. We made the meatballs, we got the dough ready, and now it's time for the fun, okay? And I knew you guys would like this dough part. Pete, do you mind just putting those meatballs in
Sure,
and
no
going? I
problem.
know that you're such a self-sufficient cook that you really don't need my help too much.
Well,
right?
you can check
now, did
in.
you guys wash your hands like I asked?
Yes.
Yes. I want everybody to see your father's meatballs. They've now turned into your father's meatballs.
That's right.
Because he made them. And these have been simmering away here for 30 minutes. Just have a little taste. No one else will mind.